Talk a little spontaneity, huh? Ooh, pardon me. No, go away. I don't have any food. All right. So I sat down this evening and I started to think about all the things that people are listening to and watching and considering and aligning with. And the overarching idea I got was that if you're uncomfortable being spontaneous, it's going to be kind of a rough ride. All right. It's going to be a rough and tumble ride over the next several years. Okay. So we need to learn to be mentally agile and not have any fear about being outside of our comfort zone and training our brains for a 360-degree vision and learning to adapt, grow, expand, and flourish. So as I tried to sit there and quiet myself, so like I'm ready to call it a day. It's a Sunday night, I'm getting my head ready for my last few hours before I commit myself to, 9 to 10 hours of work during the day for the next 5 days. And then, yeah, anyway. So, we all have our expectations and things, what we want to accomplish. Then I started thinking, okay, just like some really personal things I started having some questions about it. It's like, meh, okay, well, that kind of makes sense. And what I was doing was kind of meditating, and I have some really cool guidance decks that I ask for help with, figuring out what's going on. And I'm just like, oh, I don't want to talk about what happened with the attempt on that man's life, the DJT thing. But that's what I got hit with because I don't, anybody who knows me where I work knows that I avoid politics. I think it's really inappropriate to do politics at work. That and religion. I'll listen to my client's perspective on, that kind of stuff. Like, okay, if that's how you feel, go you. I don't have to align with any of it, but everybody needs to be able to express themselves, right? All right, so this is what I got. So there was an attempted hit on his life, DJT. Well, I think I couldn't even tell you what day it was. I'm so wrapped up in work. I know there are some people that say that it was not the real one and that he had a body double. So the question I asked was the man that, everybody saw, if that was the original who got, nicked. And I got that it was. So this is the interesting part, because some people are saying it was a fake or a stand-in or whatever, and some people are saying no, it was the real guy, right? The original, the one and only. And I think the reason that this is kind of important to me is I have two people that I hold in very high regard. And each one of those individuals had a different opinion. So that, I think, maybe even though I wasn't overtly asking that question, when I was sitting down trying to chill a little bit, it got shoved into my head. It's like, this is something you need to resolve before you end your day or start winding down for the day. So maybe that's why this came up. I did notes on my phone, so I apologize. I'm reading, my phone's down there. Right. So it feels like now, at least for me, that boy, dictation really is crappy, right? The, what do you call it? Autocorrect really stuck up to the plate here. It's like, what? Um, ah, okay. Yes. I really, see, I've been doing some writing too. uh, each one of these individuals, and I think all of us, this isn't just people, this is just people in general. We have preconceived notions. We have these subconscious and conscious awarenesses of what we want to have happen or would like to see happen. And sometimes our judgment can be skewed by that. Sorry, somebody just, my son's out having a good time with his girl. So that's awesome sauce. So I think that even on a subconscious level, we can kind of sway those opinions. And that's what you have to kind of clear that out. And I know that people have a certain ritual that does that, but if it's subconscious, it's not necessarily going to be anything that you're going to be aware of, I guess. I don't know how else to explain it. That's just kind of what's coming into my head right now. But I guess the point is that whether you're aware of it or not, intrinsic biases, thank you ever so, you can sway the energies or outcomes of what you're trying to look at. So maybe your feelings, blah, blah, blah. Or if you're, reading tarot, or if you're just trying to run on something that would be intuition, whatever. A lot of times there is that intrinsic bias. Some people would consider it a personal prejudice. That's probably a little more way to put it. Of course, people not being able to take the truth nowadays. I mean, it just like bald face. If you're a jerk, you can't walk up to tell somebody you're a jerk. You got to, kind of soften it up, and you get what my point anyway. So I guess you can kind of sway the energies around you, whether it's cards or intuition, right? That intrinsic bias is gonna manifest in your consciousness and your perception of what you're reading into what the answer of your question is. Because I think you can secretly desire, even though you're not on the forefront. It's like, oh yeah, I don't think that was that person. So one said yes, the other said no, and that really put me into a quandary, because like I said, and I was leaning towards the one that says, nah, that was a double. I'm thinking, I don't want to have my perceptions swayed by my intrinsics. So I like to put that aside and consciously do that. It's not something that I always do. I think when I get too much of an routine, that's when it gets old for me really quick, because I'm like that person that's go squirrel. I need to have variety and change it up quite a bit. Um, that's why I kind of think like what I just mentioned earlier about making sure, I know this is getting off a little bit, squirrel, that, we really do need to be comfortable with being uncomfortable and changing up. And so this is why it made me a little uncomfortable, because I really like both of these people. So if I use that example of the DJT and whether or not it was a double or really him, I had no idea. I didn't know who was accurate, and it kind of bothered me a little bit. Like I said, I really like both these people. So the one person said that it was a double and that those were protecting him, somehow found out about the plot and turned it into a failed plan. And so that sounds like a really feasible scenario. But here's what I got, that it was the real dude. And the only way that that could have failed is if the opposition didn't know. Right? Well, no, I take that back. It's not that they didn't know. They would know, because they're smart enough to know what's a fake and what's a real one. So they had to be so sure of the plan to the best of their ability. Wow, this is like racing really fast in my head. So I don't think I said that really right. In order for the opposition to carry out their plan, they had to believe that it was going to work. So they needed to place the ultimate risk in front of those cameras and in the line of fire, quite literally. So I guess that what that really means is real dude that got ouch, right? And that had to happen that way because the opposition probably would have played like they didn't know, and something else worse would have happened. And, it's just really complicated, right? Everybody talks about this 5D chess thing. I think that is just kind of a dumbed down way to put it. I think it's way more complex than that. So having said that, don't know why that was important, other than being open. Doesn't just being open to being uncomfortable and knowing that you're okay, no matter what. Knowing that you're okay. Yeah, for sure. We're gonna envision the best. I'm not going to use the H word. We are going to envision the best and prepare for the worst. And not even the worst. I don't know how you can do that, because a lot of times that's not even it's outside your periphery. Right? Well, I don't know why this was so critically important, but anyway, there you go. I'm messing with one of my cards. I hope this helped somebody, because this was like, just get out in front of this camera thing, record it, and throw it up. That sounded kind of not nice, but you know what I mean. Anyway, blessings to all. And I mean all, because we're all in this.